態は隠蔽の会で王様たちに見えないはず。王子、ご無事ですか？
司祭は後ほど。
かなりまずいことをしちゃった気もするけど。
Sometimes as a anime reviewer, I feel like I'm full of a bunch of contradictions, and I think you probably have noticed that before, and maybe even one or two of you have called me out for it. But here's the thing that ends up happening is when I'm reviewing and when you are reviewing, you know, in your head or on paper or on a blog or on the internet, maybe you create YouTube videos yourself. But when you're reviewing an anime and you're doing it per episode, right? Your feelings are going to gravitate and change per episode because that's what should be happening is each episode is individualized and you're reviewing it top to bottom per that episode. Yeah, you might take things that have happened through the season and you may include that in the review, but the reality is I'm reviewing episode 17, like today we're going to be talking about TSUKIMICHI season 2 episode 17. This one was named Mutation Hazard, and the reason I want to start the video of like that is like sometimes I might find that myself hate an episode. Maybe it was episode 16 or 15, and I might hate that episode because it was too slow or they talked too much or there was nothing that really happened that episode. But if you dig deeper, the reality of that is I just wasn't interested in the topics they were talking about, or I wasn't interested where they were. I'm the horse, and they were leading by the carrot, so I wasn't interested where they're leading the horse to the carrot by, or where they're leading the horse to. And I think that's what ends up happening sometimes is you might have two very similar episodes and one I absolutely, you know, on a personal level abhorred or I hated or I disliked. And the other episode I really loved and I thought was really good. And it was because the topics or the point of that specific episode interested me more. Now, it all becomes a big amalgamation onto one season. It all becomes one big opinion of the entire season at the end of the road, right? And that's what we'll talk about when the season ends. We'll talk about the last episode, how the season was completely in all of its glory. But when you're doing it individualized, that's the reality. Sometimes you kind of like, you're a big ass walking contradiction is because you have these two similar episodes and I might go, blah, and I might go, ooh, and you might go, what the freak, dog? Like, wait, what you mean? Why you changing up? Like, why you changing jerseys here? Like you were this team, now you're on this team. It's like, that just happens. And I think that's just, to be honest, that's just human nature, right? It's like you may really like this person, but then they do something that, you know, they do something that makes you really like them. And then they do something that totally icks you out. You're like, ugh. And the same can happen, right? You can meet somebody and you're like, ugh. But then you have some kind of interaction or something specific happens between you and that person. And suddenly you see them in a different light. It's just human nature. So anyways, episode 17, mostly talking. There was moments of what do you call it? There was moments of high octane, I guess you could say, because we had Alucard, that's Castlevania. We have Illumar, something like that. But we have the Duke's child or whatever who, you know, has gone berserk, and the show did do a pretty good job of, how do you say it? The show did do a pretty good job of humanizing him in a way, right? It showed us that he wasn't completely evil and he wasn't completely, you know, stupid. He just made a bunch of stupid decisions, and instead of voicing his concern, dismay, instead of going and, you know, treating the girl he loves like the girl he loves, he was a total dick. He made bad decisions, and this is what landed him in this case. So it humanized him a little bit. So I really loved that the show ended up doing that, past tense. But this episode, it had his dad and the emperor or the king or whatever try to get through to him through, you know, mannerisms and through reaching out to him, hoping maybe that brings him back. But they confirmed with our boy Makoto that, hey, he's not coming back. Like, he's never seen anything like this from before. So they have to focus on taking him down, which is really sad. So that there was some high octane stuff that happened between the students, between Shiki or Mio, kind of advising them what to do as they took on the monster, and so we got to see enough action happening. We also got to see Makoto in action, save the prince or princess. Apparently, the princess is pretending to be the prince for whatever reason, but he saved the prince and he caught her and he felt her shishmiris. And he was like, oh crap, this is gonna land me in hot water later because now he knows the truth that the prince is actually a princess. He's like, God, he's like, I really, and it sucks for him because he's like, I really didn't want to land myself in that situation of knowing some royal secret. He just has to deal with it now. But he went and he looked really badass, saving her and stuff like that. Now Makoto, Tomoe took all the folks out. They teleported everybody out. And then this episode also spent a good portion of time with Makoto coming to grips that he was kind of double-crossed in a way. Basically you have black, white, and gray. And that's where the demons kind of played their play with Makoto, is they're kind of operating in the gray. They didn't dissolve or break their agreement with Makoto, but they kind of fled into the gray area of like, well, we're not actually doing this, which I thought was interesting as well. So it has a good portion of him kind of coming to grips with the fact that he got double-crossed and what he's going to do. So he established with the two blue-haired girls, okay, we're going to go do this. And then he established with Tomoe that, okay, we're going to kind of play the heroes here to where we kind of get put to the upper echelon. So where basically the kingdom kind of owes us one. And that'll kind of put us in a good light. But then we're still going to go partner with the demons. But we're going to get back at them, though. So he's, he kind of took a step back from his emotions. And he kind of like thought out, okay, in conjunction with Shiki and Mio and Tomoe, he kind of like thought out like, hey, here's how we're going to play this game. And now we're getting to see that, get played out, which I think is really cool overall. So my enjoyment level for this episode is really, really high, but I just wanted to acknowledge at the beginning of the episode that I acknowledged that there was a similar episode where I poo-pooed on, but just the subject matter of this one interested me more and kept me more engaged. And I wanted just to make sure that I was very clear with that. A lot of other little micro things happened within the episode, well, too, right? He met up with Rembrandt. He assigned a couple people to him. He's saying to the Merchant Guild. There's people that there's demons that are invading all across the different city. He's going to kind of allow them to shake things up, but then be the savior. He's going to partner with the king and make sure that he's the savior there. He's going to elevate his status as a teacher here. He's going to teach his students and get them elevated. So he's doing a lot of good things. I think this was mostly set up for what's going to come next episode when they kind of overcome Illuminati dude, and when they overcome on some of these things, and then what's going to happen next with the demons. One thing I want to mention, too, is Hibiki, the hero. The demons did mention about taking her down, and Makoto won't allow that to happen. I can't wait to see how that's going to shake out. But overall, really enjoyed it. Really loved this episode. Thought it was really good. But I wanted to start the video with the understanding that, hey, it might sound like a big contradiction because there's been another episode that's been very similar that I poo-pooed on. And I don't remember which one it was, but I'm sure it's happened. So wanted to kind of talk about that. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this episode down in the comments below. And I'll see you, my friends, next week. Peace out.